Unlike supermarket corned beef, home corned beef is not a salt lick.
When done well, it has a seasoned but balanced and complex flavor, which starts with the corning process itself. Now there's two methods. There's the dry method and the wet method. So the dry method has salt and seasonings. You rub it on the meat, you put it in plastic, and you put it in the fridge, and then you go in there every day, and you flip it, and you flip it, and you flip it.
I've done that.
And it's good. The wet method, however, is a lot easier. You add all the seasonings and salt to water, you soak the meat in that brine, and you just let it sit there. You don't have to mess with it at all. Now, of course, we did a side-by-side test to see which one tasted better, and it was a tie. They both tasted great. So we're going to go for the easy method here, wet corning.
All right.
And here I have 4 quarts of water. To this, I'm going to add a good amount of salt. Now, this is 3/4 of a cup of table salt. We're also going to add a little sugar. This is 1/2 cup of brown sugar. We're also going to add a little bit of pink salt. This is 2 teaspoons of pink preserving salt. And this pink salt was a little controversial in all of our edit meetings because you're adding nitrites to the water. But it does a few things. 1, it helps the meat stay a little bit more pink. But 2, and more importantly to us, the meat tasted better. In fact, we did blind tastings of meat corned with and without the pink salt, and they all unanimously picked the one that was brined with pink salt. So just 2 teaspoons does the trick.
All right, just a tiny bit of pink salt. Now, pink salt is a blend of sodium chloride, or table salt, and sodium nitrite. The specialty product, sodium nitrite, is dyed pink to distinguish it from table salt. Only a small amount of it is needed for curing and achieving the trademark pink color of corned beef. When the nitrite breaks down into nitric oxide, it binds with the iron atom in myoglobin, and that is the protein that makes meat red, locking in the pink color.
All right, so a few more flavorings for our brine here. We're going to add 4 bay leaves, some garlic. This is 3 cloves of peeled garlic, some black pepper. This is a tablespoon of black peppercorns, a tablespoon of coriander, and 5 allspice berries. Now I'm just going to whisk this up, make sure the salt and that sugar is well dissolved before we add the meat. All right, so our brine is ready. Time to talk about beef. So we're obviously using beef brisket because that's the traditional cut for corned beef. And there's 2 kinds of beef brisket. There's the point cut and the flat cut. So if you want to pretend we were looking inside of a cow, this is exactly how these pieces of meat would lay. So this is the point cut, and it lays sort of on top of the flat cut. And when you separate them, you can see there's quite a difference here. You can see this flat cut is nice and even and has a great shape, whereas this point cut is a little loppy. So we prefer the flat cut.
Perfect, and you can find this a lot easier at most supermarkets.
Now sometimes these cuts come with a really thick fat cap that you'd want to trim off, but this looks pretty good. It's really no thicker than 1/4 inch in any one place, so it's ready to go in the brine.
Oh, no prep, just right in.
Right in. Now to help keep this piece of meat submerged, I'm just going to put a plate on top. There you go. Now we're going to cover this, and it goes into the refrigerator for at least 6 days, but you can do it up to 8 days. And again, you don't have to do anything here, you just have to let it sit.
No flipping.
No flipping.
No turning?
No turning.
Just waiting.
That's it. All right, so this beef has been corned for 6 days, and I've taken it out of the brine and patted it dry. But here I want to show you what happens if you don't wait the 6 days. Here's a piece of beef that's only been corned for 3 days, and you can see that strip in the middle that is gray compared to the pink around it, and that pink salt has worked its way in only so far, but that very center, not yet corned. So that's why it's really important to wait the entire 6 days. All right, so now it's time to cook the beef. And really, most recipes just put the corned beef right in water and boiled it that way. But we're going to add just a few flavorings to that water to really pump up the flavor. So here I'm going to take 2 bay leaves, 3 cloves of garlic, and 1 tablespoon of black peppercorns. I'm just going to put them in this square of cheesecloth. I'm just going to use a piece of kitchen twine and just wrap it around really well. Tie it up, and there we go. A little sachet for our corned beef.
I thought you were going to put that under my pillow.
It does look sweet, doesn't it? All right, so I'm going to put this sachet in this nice big Dutch oven that's filled with 2 quarts of water. And now we're going to add our corned beef. And I know what you're thinking, that's not going to fit in that pot. But don't you worry. This corned beef will really shrink as it cooks so that by the end, it'll fit in the pot perfectly.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to bring this up to a simmer, then we're going to put the lid on it and cook it in the oven, so a low oven, 275 degrees. And again, much like the corning, it wasn't a lot of work, but you had to wait for it. It's going to spend 2.5 to 3 hours in the oven till that corned beef is super tender. All right, so this guy's been in the oven for about 3 hours.
Aroma's wafting out at me.
Oh, it is, isn't it? All right, and the way to tell if it's done cooking or not is you want to hold it up, and you want to take a dinner fork, and you just want to stab it in. And that dinner fork, you can see it just comes right off. Oh, you can see it's starting to come apart. That's a good sign that it's fork tender. So this guy is ready to come out. Here, I'm going to lift him out in one piece, put him onto a platter. Of course, he's going to rest for a little bit while we finish cooking the vegetables, but I'm going to keep him nice and moist. So I'm going to take about a cup of this broth. I'm going to pour it over the top.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that as he rests, he won't dry out. Of course, I'm going to cover it with foil to help keep it warm. So if you wouldn't mind turning the oven off, we're going to keep this guy warm in the oven as we finish cooking the vegetables. All right, with that beef staying nice and warm in the oven, it's time to turn our attention to the vegetables. And now these are the classic vegetables that you serve with corned beef. We have potatoes, carrots, and cabbage. The thing is, the cabbage cooks much more quickly than the carrots or the potatoes. So we're going to add these to the pot first before adding the cabbage. 6 carrots and 1.5 pounds of little red potatoes. So we're going to bring this up to a simmer, then turn the heat down to medium-low, put the cover on, and let it cook for about 7 minutes. All right, so it's been about 7 minutes. Ooh, smelling good. Now it's time to add the cabbage. And this is 1 head of cabbage, but we cut it into 8 pieces. But each piece has a little bit of that core that's going to help the cabbage hold together as it cooks.
This is another thing. A lot of people add the cabbage at the very start of the recipe with the beef. Ooh, you got some stinky corned beef in that case.
All right, so I have this cranked over high heat to get that liquid to come back to a quick simmer. Looks like it's there. So I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium-low. I'm going to let this cook for about 15 minutes longer until all the vegetables are tender. All right, so these vegetables have been cooking for about 15 minutes. So let's go in and see if they're tender. Oh, that cabbage looks pretty perfect.
It stayed together too.
It's falling apart on the edges, but it has a little bit of texture in the middle. That's just how I like it. All right, so I'm going to turn this heat off, with the lid on. I'm going to keep these warm while we slice into that corned beef. And here we go. Of course, I'm cutting it across the grain. Although this corned beef is going to be so tender, it's not going to even really matter. Look at that.
Rosy, rosy.
Oh, so good.
And you're slicing it paper thin, which is really, really nice with something like corned beef.
Yeah. So we're just going to put these vegetables on the side of the platter. Now I'm just going to put the meat on the platter.
While you do that, I've got a surprise for you. I'll meet you at the other end.
All right. No, now I'm curious what you got in store. All right. Oh, here we go. I think this is enough for 2 of us.
Holy moly, it is centerpiece.
Is that what I think it is?
It is. So, you made the food.
Yes.
I made the beer for you.
I know this beer.
This is your favorite beer, a cream ale, since you're from upstate New York.
That's it.
Knew you'd love it. I've chosen an Irish red.
Perfect. All right. Let me serve you up some of this wonderful corned beef here. Potato and a carrot and, of course, a wedge of cabbage.
I've got a little bit of...
Oh, I love having whole grain mustard with my corned beef. This meat is so tender, you don't even need a knife. It just flakes right apart.
It does. Absolutely incredibly tender.
You know, you just can't buy corned beef this good.
No, especially since the corned beef that you buy at the supermarket, most of it tastes like you opened up the salt shaker and poured it in your mouth. And you know, brisket is a hard cut of beef to get really nice and tender, but you did it. With that cooking method, nice and low, this is outstanding. And we've got the whole night to finish this off.
Yeah.
Making home corned beef that's balanced in flavor and incredibly tender is a relatively hands-off procedure. Soak a flat-cut brisket for 6 days in a brine made with both table and pink curing salt, as well as sugar, whole spices, and garlic. Then to tenderize tough brisket, gently simmer the meat in a low oven. Now while the meat rests, simmer carrots, potatoes, and cabbage in that seasoned cooking liquid. Serve with whole grain mustard and maybe even a glass of beer that your friend brewed for you. And there you have it, from our test kitchen to your kitchen, the easiest yet best tasting home corned beef with vegetables that you'll ever have. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.